Hi everyone, it's Liz here from Dyslexia Daily, and I'm sorry to all those people. I know I forgot to put the reminder up that I was going to go live, but I am going live and I completely forgot, so I'm sorry. Today, I'm going to talk about a topic that a lot of people ask me about, and it's something that comes up time and time again, and depending on what type of background you have with dyslexia and learning difficulties will determine your views on this. So there are two types of dyslexia. One is visual dyslexia. In other words, you see visual distortions on a page of black text on white paper. You might have a different view of the world in terms of what you can process from the back of your eyes into your brain and what you see. The other type of dyslexia is termed more phonological dyslexia. So let's say there are two very different types. Now, we've got visual dyslexia or visual processing deficits or visual processing difficulties. Hi Denise, lovely to see you. And we've got phonological dyslexia, phonics being the sound system code of the English language. If you're wondering where I'm standing, I'm actually standing in my kitchen because the natural light is so nice out of my window, and they are my very favourite orchids, which I talk to every day, and every 2 or 3 months they put on a new flower and they bloom, so I absolutely love them. So, two things I want to talk to you about: visual dyslexia or visual processing deficits, scotopic sensitivity. There's all different terminologies for it. Is one thing that can be impacting on a child, and phonological dyslexia, so an inability to hear the sound system code in the English language, is another one. Now, some children have one or the other, and some children can have both. There's about, from what I understand and doing lots of research on this, there's about a 30% crossover. So kids who are struggling to learn in a classroom may very well have a visual processing deficit as well. Hi Sammy, how you going? So let me tell you a little bit about it, because this is something particularly in America that isn't known very widely about. So firstly, I want to, this is from my book, Helping Children with Dyslexia, but firstly I want to show you page 168. Now these images are all courtesy of Helen Erlin. Hi Renee, how you going? Have a squiz at this. So these are some of the things that your child or even you might see. So you've got rivers, you've got blurring, you've got shaky text, you've got wobbly text, you've got text that appears to be shuddering, you've got text that fades in and out, you've got text where all the text sort of joins up together and clumps up together. Hi Shelley, how you going? So let's say you've got a child who's not reading or learning to read at an appropriate rate, even though there's a really good phonics program in place and some great teachers teaching a particular child, and you're noticing that they're not learning to read at the same rate as perhaps other children are. Here are 27 questions that you can ask if you suspect your child may be having a visual processing difficulty. Hi Annette, thank you for joining us and for telling me about your child who has got dyslexia. I wonder what type. Is it visual, in other words, visual processing difficulties, or are they having an issue with phonological dyslexia where they're struggling to actually decode and hear the sounds as they're reading and writing? These are 27 questions to ask though if you have a child that you think might be struggling with visual dyslexia. The first question was given to me by an assessor in this area, and she said, do the words always play tricks or do they behave? That is just a great open-ended question to ask. Renee's asking me, is this where a child using a clear coloured blue sheet over the white page can help? And yes, it is, Renee. Blue can be a very, very good colour for children who struggle with this, and I can tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. Here's some more questions though. Number 2 is, does reading make you tired? Number 3, do you often lose your place when reading? Number 4, do you sometimes skip words when reading? Number 5, do you ever reread the same words over again? Hi Lisa, how are you? Do you skip lines altogether? So now we're talking the whole line of a page of your book. Do you sometimes read words or numbers back to front? For example, was for saw or 64 for 46. So you can see this can impact on maths and bus timetables and classroom timetables and codes. So there's other things that this can impact upon. Do you often misread words when reading like them? Oh, my phone just fell off and it's back again. Hi Lisa, hi Jeanette, how are you? So do you sometimes misread words like them for there and there for them? Do you find it easier to keep your place on the page by using a pointer or your finger or a ruler by scrolling down the page? Do you find it hard to concentrate on the printed page? Are you easily distracted? Does the white on the page ever feel too bright or hurt your eyes? Do you become restless and start to fidget? Do your eyes become sore and watery? Do you squint when you're reading? Does it help to close one eye when you're reading? Do your eyes become sore? Oh, I've already said that one. I'm going to go back because I'm now up to number 16. Do you rub your eyes when you read? Do you keep your eyes close to the page when you're reading? Do you hold the page further away from your eyes to see clearly? So lots of different things. I'm just turning the page of my book. Now my phone's fallen off, so I can keep telling you some of the things that you need to look out for or questions that you can ask. You can say, do you prefer a particular light when you're reading? Is it dim or bright? Does the white paper in your books seem to flicker, glare, or flare at you? By flaring, think of the white glowing from the backs of the text. Do you ever see white cracks on the page? Does it become harder to read the longer you are reading? How often do you find it that a child will be reading and they'll fall asleep whilst they're reading? And adults do this too. Someone just said that their son has dyslexia, processing challenges and integration challenges as well. Sammy says, it sounds much louder when you're closer. Oh, sorry, Sammy, I hope I'm not blasting you out. And I think it's Om Basmala. Hi there. I hope I pronounced it right. Sorry if I didn't. Does it seem like the text moves around or become blurrier? Does it seem like there's a spotlight behind the words flickering when you are trying to read? Do you prefer one font size or style to another? I know Comic Sans font styles are very popular, and another one that you can try called Open Dyslexia with an IE on the end. That is a free download and I use it a lot. So Google Open Dyslexia font and you will find you can actually download that font for free to your computer and use it in any of your worksheets, and it's one I use a lot and people love it. Hi Tandy, nice to see you too. Does schoolwork give you a headache? And if you remember, I was talking to you about my middle son who used to come home with absolutely raging headaches from trying to focus on his page at school during the day. And once he got his red lenses, they helped. So there are some questions that you can ask a child who you think might have visual dyslexia. And I particularly want to highlight this for the US, people in the US, because I know that there are a lot of families who seemingly are trying so many ways of helping a child with a reading difficulty or a learning difficulty in literacy, and they're not finding solutions, and they've still got children who are really struggling. Now, this can be as severe as the child who feels like they're constantly in an earthquake all the time. And I know a child who had that. The whole world was constantly shuddering, and she would see two of everything. So she would actually see, like she had blurred vision, and there was like two images of two of everything. So just imagine the world looks fractured. And she ended up with purple lenses. That was her thing. And the purple lenses stopped that happening. This can be right up to the child who can only look at their book for, say, an hour, or study, so they're a teenager, they can only study for about an hour, and then they actually fatigue really badly. Their eyes start to water, they invariably start to get a bit of a headache, they struggle with focusing. So my other thing is, what can you do to help these children? Now, once you've asked all the questions and established if this might be an issue, the next thing you need to do is try 3 things. 1, go and see a visual processing specialist. This is not necessarily an optometrist, unless your optometrist is a specialist in this particular area as well. Optometrists can go from almost saying, what a load of rubbish, I've never heard of this and I'm not going to even look at this as being an option, right up to the optometrist who's done numerous study on this area, has ways of assisting children, exercise programs, understands a lot more about it. So do your research on your optometrist. You can also look at ophthalmologists. Some of those have excellent skills in this area. Also consider 3 things. Colour helps about 30%. It does not help everybody. It can also help people with brain injuries. And I have recently heard that colour is also helping people with Parkinson's shudders, also helping people with motion sickness. Blue lenses has proven to help people who get motion sickness. So there's quite a bit of research being done around colour. It's funny, I'm getting some information through on the Facebook Live, people talking to me, Denise saying that the optometrist I took my daughter to said she was trying to make herself nearsighted. I don't think a child would try and do that. Anyway, and someone's asking me about educational specialists versus online virtual services. That's a question for another day too, but I will definitely, I can definitely answer those questions. Keep asking them, because I go back through the Facebook Lives and I look at all your questions and then I weave what my next Facebook Lives are going to be about. So, ways to help. Colour is definitely one. Different colours for different children, not all the same colours. Two colours that are scientifically proven. One is quite a deep blue, one is quite a deep yellow. The other colour that I know can help is red and a teal green, also apricot. If you think about your sunglasses, you will find that as an adult, you will tend to favour one type of sunglass colour over another one. For me, it's an apricot brown. For me, that makes the world look better, especially when it's glary and it's sun coming through. So have a think about that. It's kind of the same sort of thing. You definitely have a preference for one colour over another. Renee's just saying, for regional South Australian people, there's a great behavioural optometrist in Port Augusta. That is a great tip. Thank you so much, Renee. And now Sarah is saying, I thought Erlen lenses had been discounted as being evidence-backed assistance for dyslexia. Gee, I hope that's true, Sarah. If that's true, I am going to be so super excited. So I'm going to look into that. Denise is saying, I was not happy with him. Oh, okay. Now I'm confused. Oh, yes, the guy who was saying that your daughter was trying to make herself nearsighted. Yeah, that's a bit strange. Generally, colours, children don't tend to muck around when they're struggling with what they tell you and what they don't tell you. They generally are seeking help. Thanks, Denise, for clarifying that. Are these colours for reading, or will they help with art too? Seriously, they help with everything. Reading musical notes is another way they can help. Now you can hear my dogs going wild. Discounted as in not recommended for children anymore. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I've got a feeling there's a real issue around Australia's whether they'll accept colour. It's really well known in the UK. Anyway, enough about colour. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was eye exercises can be another one that you can use. And the other one is because it's invariably a difference in processing speed or rate from eye to eye. So one eye might be better than the other. The strong eye tends to dominate through the back of the brain into the visual processing section of the brain. And that's what will often cause all the distortions and so forth. So The other thing that can help, and you really do need to seek a specialist's help for this, and that is patching of the patching of the stronger eye. Let me clarify, patching of the stronger eye to make the weaker eye come up to scratch. In other words, to make the eyes more vergent, so they work together. So there you go. I could ramble on about this all day. And as I say, this particular method did not help my oldest son at all. Colour was not even going to be an option for him. He was very much working memory, long-term memory, visual memory, phonological dyslexia was his area of concern. My daughter, it helped a little bit. She still will say if she puts her light pink glasses on, it definitely helps her read for longer. But she won't put them on very often. She feels a bit self-conscious. My middle son, whom I've already told you about, who used the dark red, well, it changed his life. So you've really got to try different things for different kids. To get started, you can use cellophane. You can go and see, you can jump online and find some coloured acetates, all sorts of things. Somebody's just written that Dr. Gary Etting, an optometry, is great in Encino. So there you go. If you live near Encino, definitely something. And Renee said phonological dyslexia is my 12-year-old, and I will talk a little bit more about phonological dyslexia next time. So have a great day, everybody. I really don't want to make these too long because I could ramble forever. And Renee says her 9-year-old is visual. Both children have dyslexia, but they're really different. And someone said thank you to Sammy. So there you go. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you next time. And in fact, next week on some more Facebook Lives. Ask me some questions, put them in the chat box, email me if you want your questions, and I will get them. So goodbye for now, and hope you have a super, super rest of your day. Bye.